Hey guys, this is Unit 5, Topic 2. It's called The Changing Faces of Cities. So, we're going to be looking at some cities that are famous for large groups of immigrants entering America and how that has affected those cities as well as our nation. So, the question that we're going to be able to answer at the end of this unit is what was life like for poor immigrants in the early 1900s? So, life for immigrants was different than just life for regular Americans during this time. All right, so immigration in the United States. If you remember, we just talked about the Industrial Revolution, where most of the jobs in America went from agricultural aspects to more industrial aspects. They're going from farming to factories. And all of these factory jobs created during industrialization have led us to a large scale movement of people. So in this time, instead of our same people moving to the West or us changing from agriculture to industrial, we're looking at immigrants coming from outside nations into the United States because of all of these open jobs in factories. All right, so here's a little article. It's called The American Dream from 1880 to 1930. So we're looking at about a 50-year span here. And the question we want to answer is where did the majority of immigrants come from? We're going to read the text and then we're going to look at the pie graph to make a decision. It says by 1880, America was booming. The image of America as a land of promise attracted people from all over the world. On the East Coast, Ellis Island, which is an island just outside of New York, welcomed new immigrants largely from Europe, which is just across the Atlantic Ocean. America was the Golden Door, which is a metaphor for a prosperous society. Prosperous means doing well, having a lot, that welcomed immigrants. Asian immigrants, however, didn't have the same experience as European immigrants. They were the focus of one of the first major pieces of legislation on immigration, the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which severely restricted immigration from China. So, in other words, this article is saying that Europeans were pretty much welcomed openly into the United States, whereas the Chinese were not opened as openly. And so that's something to think about why they were treated differently. So let's look at the pie graph. The yellow represents immigrants from Europe. So the majority of this circle, more than 3/4, more than 75% of the immigrants coming into America came from Europe. The kind of green-blue color represents from the Americas. This is going to be from other places in North America as well as South America. So we see less than 1/4, maybe around 1/5 of the immigrants came from other places in the Americas. And then that small little red sliver are the people from Asia. And as we can see, they were highly restricted. They were not allowed to come in as freely. And then we don't see any from Oceania. All right, so immigration. We're looking at why did people immigrate to the United States? We know most of them came from Europe, a few from Asia, some from other parts in America, but why did they come? Let's read this article and see if we can find out. It says in the late 1800s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States. Fleeing crop failure, land and job shortages, rising taxes, and famine, many came to the United States because it was perceived as a land of economic opportunity. That means an opportunity to make money. Others came seeking personal freedom or relief from political and religious persecutions. So some people came to be able to believe what they wanted to believe freely without people persecuting them for their beliefs. With hope for a brighter future, nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 and 1900. During this time, the vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, and England, aka Europeans, and the principal source of immigration before the Civil War that would drastically change in the next 3 decades. All right, so if I look here at some reasons they came, it says most of them came to escape crop failure, not having enough jobs, rising taxes, famine, not enough food. They came for economic opportunity, the opportunity to get a job and to have a better life. Some of them wanted personal freedom. They didn't want to be pushed down for their beliefs. And then some wanted just a brighter future, more opportunities. All right, so here is a motivations Venn diagram. So we're looking at three main migration eras. We're looking at westward migration, and this is talking about when a lot of people moved in the beginning of the United States history from eastern United States to the western side with the Homestead Act and all of that, taking up some of that new land in the Louisiana Purchase. European immigration is what we're talking about right now. All of these Europeans coming over from Europe for a brighter future. And then the Great Migration of African Americans is what we're talking about. A lot of people coming from Africa over to America. All right, so we know a Venn diagram, wherever the two circles overlap is going to be something that they have in common. And the part of the circle that does not overlap with any others represents an area that is specific only to that one group. So you should have this Venn diagram attached to your lesson. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try to fill in some of the blanks, and then we will come back and talk about the answers. Okay, so hopefully you gave this a try on your own. If not, let's look here for some motivations of people moving west in westward migration. They were looking for fertile farmland. They wanted land to call their own, that they could farm, make money, and have a better opportunity for their family. People from Europe came over because they wanted to leave behind famine. They were all compacted in one area. There wasn't enough food and jobs for everyone. And some of them also wanted to escape persecution. They wanted to be able to believe what they wanted to believe freely, which is something that people and immigrants from Africa also had the same issue. They wanted to flee racial discrimination and violence that was happening in Africa and them being enslaved. And they wanted to escape persecution, and they wanted jobs and opportunities. So the one thing that all three of these groups have in common is that they were all seeking economic opportunity, the opportunity to get a job, to provide for their family, and to have a brighter future, kind of like the American dream. All right, so this is on your exit ticket. I want you to answer this question and go back to the source that's on source 5 to help you. So, what was not a reason that immigrants moved to the United States? Personal freedom, to find a job, to have a cultural experience, or to have a brighter future? Just highlight your answer choice and then tune in tomorrow for lesson 2. Thanks.